Hey guys, in this video, I want to talk about what the future of Twitter might look like. My last video, I talked about Elon Musk and his psychology, did a psychoanalysis of him. Today, I'm going to talk about what might happen inside Twitter and what that means for the company going forward. The best way to explain what is happening with Twitter right now is a car chase escape scene. The guys driving the car are the guys inside Twitter trying to run the company and trying to get it into a better state. And all the stuff from the outside world that is getting in their way, the hot dog vendor, the pedestrians, the random delivery trucks, are all the risks and things that could potentially foil this escape, including Elon Musk. In fact, Elon Musk is almost like some kind of mad puppeteer god who just keeps trying to keep these guys from being able to make this escape. He's actually making it really difficult for this team. There are four parts to this conversation. The first one is who is actually behind the wheel of the company. And I don't mean Elon Musk as the CEO. I mean the guys that are there day to day actually trying to run and operate this thing. The second one are the risks. So what's out there in the world that could potentially trip up or even, kill Twitter. The third one is the current trajectory of the company. So where are we today? Where is it pointed? And what does that mean in terms of the future? And then the fourth one is what I'm calling omega events, which are unpredictable, unknown events that might happen that seem to be possible in this world where Elon Musk is the CEO. This guy is Jason Calacanis. Calacanis is an old school OG Silicon Valley guy. He started a magazine called Silicon Alley Reporter. He's been also a founder. He's a podcaster, and essentially he knows his way around Silicon Valley, and he's actually quite a decent entrepreneur, angel investor, etc. He knows Musk from way back in the day when Musk was starting some of his early companies, and has been a friend and a cheerleader of Tesla from the very beginning. In fact, he's reportedly the owner of the very first Tesla Model S. So Calacanis, capable guy and very loyal. Next up, we have David Sacks. David Sacks is one of Elon Musk's original guys from the PayPal mafia. So they go back a long way. He's a tech investor and an entrepreneur. He was the founder of a company called Yammer, which is kind of like a social media / messaging app, kind of like a Twitter for the enterprise. Microsoft bought it back in 2012 for $1.2 billion. More relevant to Twitter, Sacks was a co-founder of a company called Callin, which was kind of a Clubhouse competitor with a few slight differences. So he knows social media. The third guy on the list is Sriram Krishnan, who is an investor for Andreessen Horowitz, one of the big venture capital firms in Silicon Valley. But more importantly to Twitter, he's one of the few guys in this kind of little group of Musk executives who has significant leadership experience at other social networks, including Facebook, Snap, and Twitter. The last guy I'm going to talk about is Jared Birchall. He is Elon Musk's family wealth manager. This is the money guy. He used to work at Morgan Stanley. He's known Musk for about 10 years. He was involved in getting some of the money together, at least for Morgan Stanley, for the Twitter deal itself. And he's actually been shopping around to other investors the potential to re-up their investment at the share price of $54.20, which is exactly what Musk paid for Twitter, which was already a lot over valuation. So anyway, this is the money guy here. The takeaway from this group is that there is a very competent set of people who are there that can run the company. So even though Elon Musk is all over the place, causing all kinds of chaos behind the wheel, there are guys that understand Silicon Valley, understand how to lead big teams at big companies, understand social networks, and understand financing. So core group looks good. People behind the wheel seem competent enough. There's room for optimism here. But no matter how good the driver, a lot can go wrong in a car chase. So let's talk about some of the risks that are in front of Twitter. There's a great saying from Warren Buffett: I try to invest in businesses that are so wonderful that an idiot could run them, because sooner or later one will. That's not to say that Elon Musk is an idiot, but it is to say that Twitter is not a wonderful business. Twitter has lost money in every year that it's been around except for 2 years. The problem for Twitter, though, is that they are bleeding advertisers. Half of the top 100 advertisers in Twitter have already left the platform since Elon Musk took over. And with advertising being the main revenue source for Twitter, that's a huge, huge problem. Advertisers don't like controversy and they don't like politics. The last thing that they want to do is scramble their emergency PR teams to handle some kind of insane situation that could have been avoided. With Elon Musk creating all kinds of noise, controversy, and battles inside Twitter, he's creating the conditions that advertisers don't want to be around, and we can see them leaving. Now, Musk is also trying to add subscriptions as another revenue source, but subscriptions and social networks are a bit of a hard sell because it automatically reduces the amount of people that are going to participate. And social networks, and especially advertising businesses, are built on large scales of people. So the subscription revenue stream is never going to be substantial. Twitter would have to fundamentally change as a business and a social network. So as long as Twitter needs to have advertisers, the current trajectory that Musk is on is going to be a big problem. The other major risk in play here is the FTC consent decree finds that Twitter is at risk of having to pay. I think this risk is a lot lower than the advertiser risk because the FTC is an organization that might be a little bit more flexible, or at least would have some room for discussion or negotiation if the fines that they were going to level on Twitter would kill it. Twitter is understandably to all a very important platform, and to have it disappear under the FTC's final punishment would be a bad scene and a bad look, and potentially cause even more issues for the FTC as an institution. And also Elon Musk, despite his cavalier attitude at the beginning towards the FTC, basically saying, I'm not afraid of you guys, has softened his tone, because I think he understands that ultimately, the law gets to decide what happens to a business that has to operate within the law. So we see and believe that there's some good people that are behind the wheel of the company. We also know kind of the lay of the land, more or less, of like the big risks, but we still need to change the trajectory of the company. So what's the trajectory of Twitter right now? Elon Musk originally came into this trying to turn Twitter back into the town square, but it doesn't really feel like a town square right now. It feels more like a battle arena, like a coliseum. And that's actually been pushing a lot of people away. Also, Musk is doing a lot of weird stuff that is making it hard for people to stay on Twitter. The most recent thing was banning social links. For any product, there's an amount of kind of credit that gets built up over time. So for example, like Apple has big credit with a lot of people. So when they, launch a crappy keyboard or a crappy computer, most people say like, okay, that's okay. Once in a while, nobody's perfect. And Twitter had that for a lot of folks. There's a lot of people that have been on there for 10 years that have built their careers and their businesses and their followings entirely on Twitter. So there's a lot of positivity there. I still believe that a lot of folks still have that really strong kind of feeling and goodwill and want Twitter, even though it's really hard to do it right now. So there's a chance that if things kind of simmer down and more stability comes back to the platform, that a lot of those people will come back to Twitter. As long as Elon is continuing to create a battleground, the culture of Twitter will be a battleground. It's not just that he leaves as CEO, he has to actually change his behavior as well. And there, I'm not so sure he's going to do that, or that he even can do that. Elon Musk, from my last video, is a narcissist. And this quote kind of sums up how narcissists think. The grandiose person is never really free. First, because he is excessively dependent on admiration from others. And second, because his self-respect is dependent on qualities, functions, and achievements that can suddenly fail. I believe that Elon Musk is acting the way he's acting and pushing this conversation into a more political direction because that's simply where the people that are his strongest cheerleaders are. And for him to change his behavior, he's going to need to give up on that group of cheerleaders. And frankly, I'm not sure that he can really do that. The final thing to talk about are Omega events. Omega events come from actually early Reddit community managers to describe things that are just impossible to predict when you're writing rules for or guidelines for a community. And Elon Musk is one of the best generators of these on the planet. One tweet from Elon Musk could undo the whole company, whether it finally pushes even more users away or is the last straw for even more advertisers, or it's something that the FTC simply can't ignore anymore and are forced to fine Twitter, which finally puts them even further underwater financially. Okay, so with all that, what are the chances that Twitter survives? Like, is the company around 12 months from now? What does it even look like at that point? If I'm honest, I have to give this a 50-50. That's not a satisfying answer, but on one hand, I can see that Elon Musk is starting to turn down the temperature on some things. He's realizing his mistakes a little bit quicker with the link issue banning journalists. He unbanned them. He kind of reversed some of that policy right away. And he's also put out that poll suggesting that he's going to replace himself as the CEO. So I think he understands that he's probably not the best person to run this company. But on the other hand, in order for Twitter to actually, return and start growing in revenue, they're going to need advertisers. And as long as Elon Musk keeps pandering to, this kind of us and them battleground, culture on Twitter, advertisers are going to stay away, and some of the core users that were on Twitter before will never come back. There's like a good outcome for Twitter in one case if things turn around soon, but if they continue for the next 3 to 6 months, I think that's it, which would be a huge tragedy because it's such an interesting and fascinating place and kind of one of the core pieces of internet culture, basically from almost the beginning. Hope that was interesting, and I'll catch you later. Ciao.